Lesson 10, adding and subtracting real numbers. First we have our rules for adding. And what we have, it says, write problems as addition for every term. Group and add terms with like signs. Then add terms with unlike signs. So we subtract their absolute values and keep the sign of the greater absolute value. So, for example, Example 1, Part A, the first thing it tells us to do is to write each term as addition. So we'll have to do a little rewriting here. We have 3/7 plus 1/7, and then plus negative 2/7. And you should also remember that double negatives gives us a positive, so plus 4/7. So it wants us to add all of the terms that have the same sign first. So I have positive here, here, and here. So 3/7 plus 1/7 is 4/7. Plus 4/7 is 8/7. You can show that all of those three were what came together, and then bring down that plus negative 2/7. So really we're just going to be doing the subtraction here, and 8/7 minus 2/7 is 6/7, and the larger absolute value is 8/7, so it stays positive, so 6/7 is our final answer. On part B, we're going to do the exact same thing. Write everything as addition. So we have 79.5 plus negative 3.12 plus 7.34 plus negative 6.18. Okay, so now that we have that, we will combine all of them that have the same sign. So these two are positives and these two are negatives. So I have 79.5 plus 7.34, which gives us 86.84, and then plus, and it's going to be negative because they have the same negative sign, so it's going to be negative, and we take 3.12, excuse me, plus 6.18, and that gets us a 9.3. Okay, now they have opposite signs, so we will subtract their absolute values. So 86.84 minus 9.3 gives us a 77.54. And the larger absolute value here is the 86.84, so it stays positive. Final answer is 77.54. Example 2, it wants us to order the numbers in order from least to greatest. This is stuff that I expect that you have done 1,000 times at this point. You should start this stuff in early elementary school, and you do it every year from that point on. My advice to you is to change everything to a decimal first, because whenever you have uncommon denominators and decimals, it can get confusing. So first, 3/5 as a decimal is 0.6. If you don't know how to find that, remember that the fraction bar acts as a division sign. So we can take 3 divided by 5 on our calculator and get 0.6. Then we have negative 1/4, which is 0.25. And then we have negative 0.75 and 0. Okay? So then it says to use a number line. And that's only if you really need to, but we'll do it because they suggest it. And if I can see that I have 0, and I have numbers on both sides. I have negatives and I have a positive here. So this is less than 1, and these are both less than -1, or I guess these are actually more than -1. So it's going to fall between -1 and +1. So this is about the halfway mark. This is about halfway, or 3/4 of the way, 1/4 of the way. Let's go the halfway mark, 1/4 of the way, and 3/4 of the way, just to help us plot these. So I have 0.6, which is close to 0.5. It's a little more than 0.5, so we're going to go a little bit farther than the halfway marker that we made, and that one is 0.6. Negative 0.25, or negative 25 hundredths. That means we have to go to the negative direction of 0, and we know that that's 1/4, so negative 1/4, which is going to be right here. So we have negative 0.25. Then we have negative 75 hundredths. So we know that it has to go to the negative direction, and 75 hundredths, I hope you know, is about 3/4. So it's going to be here. So we have negative 0.75. And our last point to plot is 0. So this would be the order. It says from least to greatest. Make sure that you always double check what it's asking for. This one does say least to greatest, so the order that we have them in would be our final answer. Negative 75 hundredths, and then instead of writing it as the decimal we change it to, we should say that this is negative 1/4, 0, and then instead of 6/10 we would call that 3/5. Final answer. I would like for you to pause at this point and check your. So I want you to pause at this point and then check yourself. We're going to treat this the same way we have the other problems up until this point. We're going to write them as addition and then combine same sign terms and then do the subtraction. So I have 7/9 plus a negative 1/9 plus negative 2/9, and we're sorry about that. And we're comparing that to 2.15 plus negative 4.27 plus 2.56. So on this side, the common terms we have, or the common sign terms that we have, are these negatives. So the 7/9 is going to be the same. There's nothing to combine with that right now. Plus, and then I have negative 1/9 plus a negative 2/9. Well, the sign's going to stay the same. And remember that whenever we have the same sign, we add the absolute value. So we have 1/9 plus 2/9, which is going to give us 3/9. Okay. From here, we're going to subtract the absolute values. So 7/9 minus 3/9 is 4/9. And the larger absolute value here is the 7/9. So this is going to stay positive. On this side, our common signs are 2.15 and 2.56. If we add those together, we get 4.71 plus negative 4.27. We have opposite signs here, so we're going to subtract the absolute values. So we have 4.71 minus 4.27, which gets us 0.444, okay? And the larger absolute value is the 4.71, so this is also going to stay positive. Well, remember, we're trying to compare these two things. So for us to compare, they have to be in the same form. So we're going to change this 4/9 to a decimal. So to change it to a decimal, remember, we take 4 divided by 9, and that gets us 0.4444, and it continues on. Remember that we can write that as 0.4 repeating compared to that 0.44. Well, it's really more beneficial to see it this way for the comparing, because otherwise I only have one decimal to compare here to these two decimals. Well, up here I have 4 written out 4 times, so I can go ahead and write out two more decimal places over here. So it'll be a 0 and a 0, so that it doesn't change the place value. And of these two, if I ignored the fact that it's a decimal, this would be 4,444, where this would be 4,400. So the greater of the two is the 4/9. So we would say that 4/9 is greater than 0.44 or 4400. Last example here. It says, in January, Rich invested $475 into 2 accounts. The table below shows the growth of each account. So he has investment A and investment B. These are the 2 separate accounts. In June, investment A had grown to $495.78. And then in December, it grew to $521.36. Same thing with B. He started with $475, it grew to $482, and then grew again to $515 and some change. So the first question is, which investment grew more? Well, the one that grew, he put the same amount into both accounts, okay? He started over here in January, and he put in $475, $75 into account A, and he put $475 into account B. So which one grew more is pretty obvious. It's going to be the one with the largest number at the end, and in the end the largest number is with investment A. So we would just have to say investment A. And the next question says, during which span of time did investment B grow the most? So we need to find how much it grew from January to June and from June to December. To do that, all we need to do is some simple subtraction. So I have $482.17 minus the original amount that was put into the account, which was $475. And from January to June, the account grew by $7.17. From June to December, I'll take $515.98, and I'm going to subtract $482.17. And in that span of time, the investment grew $33.81. So the span of time in which it grew the most would be from June to December. Okay, final answer. I hope you took some good notes today, and I will see you in class tomorrow.